the anger is palpable. If you look at the crowd who came here today at short notice, right? People who wanted. I've been stopped in the street so many times over the last few days since his arrest. I've been inundated with calls. The office is the same. I'm hearing all the same for other political representatives and other activists. People are very, very angry about this, and they came here to show that type of anger. Padraic Wilson should be released, needs to be released until to join his family again, and those involved in this political act, actually they need to be out of policing instead of everybody else.
Well, I mean, clearly what's going on here is an example of politically motivated policing, and this is the sort of policing that we want to leave behind, and that's what we've all been fighting and struggling for. Padraic Wilson's been a stalwart of this peace process. He supported it. He's been one of the key people in ensuring that the peace lasts. And I mean, this crowd of people are here today to demand his release. He should be released immediately. There's no reason for these charges. They're trumped up charges. We need to get away from those days whenever that was the norm. We're in a different phase. Politically motivated policing has got no place in the current era.
This is a protest today here against the arrest of Padraic Wilson. He's a well-known and long-term activist, which I think many of you will know. I have to say, the arrest, I can describe it as nothing else than a farce. It is clearly politically motivated. This is not about bringing those who killed Robert McCartney to justice. This is 7 years later, actually turned on people who were trying to help at the time. It's about a political decision which was made. It's within the serious crime department in the PSNI, and those who are involved in this type of political action really don't have a place in the new beginning to policing. Just a word on Padraic Wilson. You will remember that he was in charge in the blocks around the time of the Good Friday Agreement. He was one of the key people who brought prisoners along. He continued that work when he got out within Sinn Féin, and has continued it right up to his arrest in terms of supporting the political protest process and the peace process. The type of anger, the type of protests that you're seeing now, I have been inundated, and many of my colleagues behind me here, elected reps and others, have been inundated with people stopping them in the street, calling in the offices and that, so angry at a time after 7 years not being able to bring anyone forward for the killing of Robert McCartney. What they're actually doing now is turning their focus on people who were trying to help, including elected reps.
Well, I think first of all the Belfast Court of Cantor have to be commended on such short notice, a large crowd, and as you say, obviously many people here who know Padraic personally, they know his role in recent years in the peace process, and obviously a great role he played within the prison around the Good Friday Agreement. I think it's good that we're outside the PSNI headquarters, because eventually this is where this case lies and this is where it rests. These are the people who ultimately make the decisions. In our opinion, this was an arrest motivated by those who are frightened of scrutiny, who are feared to be held to account, and Padraic is a victim of that. So therefore we're here today sending the signal very, very clear to PSNI. These charges must be dropped and should be dropped immediately.
This is a very good turnout, and I'm delighted to see so many people here today. I'm on the policing board. I'm a member of, and you can see the support there is in East Belfast for this as well. There's a horns beeping. I'm on the policing board. We have been working very hard for a new beginning to policing. We are making major strides forward in relation to policing, and I welcome that. However, there's an old guard in there, and that old guard is trying to block change. This is about the work that we have done in relation to issues like Loughin Island, in relation to Girk Spar, in relation to legacy issues. The very people, many of them who are so-called investigating this, are people who don't want to see change, and most of that is located in the Crime Operations Department. That's where the problem is. We have been meeting them on a weekly basis in relation to many, many issues, but there have been good changes in policing, and what we need to do is continue with the good changes. Community policing, human rights embedded in policing, policing on equality in terms of our sexual orientation, gender, disability, race, etc. Nothing is going to deter us, and this is not going to stop our peace process, because we are not going to allow anti-change people stop those important things.
Right, folks, so first of all I want to thank you for Padraic and also for his family for coming along. I know that you didn't have to be coaxed much. The number of people who have come to me over the last few days, and I certainly know phoned the offices, have been talking in the streets, have been talking to other elected reps is phenomenal. I haven't seen anything like this in some years. I don't have to tell you, but just let me repeat this. This is a farcical charge. Padraic Wilson, as you all know, is a long-time activist. He was in charge of the jail at around the time of the Good Friday Agreement. He was instrumental, along with other prisoners, in having the debate within the jail. When he was released from jail, he then used his energies pushing forward the whole political agenda, which incidentally included the whole discussion around policing and bringing it from the old type of RUC policing into a new dispensation. In doing that, we have to say, and this is one of the issues which proves it, that there's still an agenda from a small minority of the old guard and the RUC. I think Hugh Ord himself once described it as the continuity RUC, who are still in there. They seem to be ensconced in the serious crime department, who brought this charge forward. To show you how ridiculous this charge is, within the piece of legislation, and I have read it, they could put every politician who was ever in touch with what they call an illegal organisation, they could put them in jail. They could put every journalist actually surrounding us at the minute in jail for having spoke to anybody who they thought was connected to an illegal organisation. So that's the type of legislation, that's the type of floodgates that they could open up. Even during the bail hearing on Monday, and let me make this absolutely clear, the detective involved said to the court that this was nothing to do with the death of Robert McCartney or bringing the murderers to the court. That was 7 years ago. The PSNI have absolutely clearly failed to do that, and instead what they're doing is turning on people who were trying to help the McCartney family and bringing justice to that family. So that's what this is all about. We want them released. I'm glad you came and showed your solidarity in these type of numbers, especially over here outside the headquarters of the PSNI, because they need to get the message that there is an agenda within the PSNI, and that Matt Baggett, the Chief Constable, has to look at that and has to root out those people who are still involved in the old RUC type policing. So thank you for coming along, and Gura mai agah.